Well, good evening, everyone.
I'm gonna set up. That's me.
Let's try that again. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Simple Playz. I'm your host. I'm your umpire, your referee, your herder of the cats, as I call it, Sid Thompson. Welcome to another week of the Simple Playz.
I introduced Sid. You can't be sitting there.
Hey, stop that right now. But we're in for a good show tonight, guys. We're going to have a guest on tonight, talk a little NIL, talk a little fantasy, and some topics going on in the NFL right now. So I'm going to turn it over to the Rev to do our introductions. I already introduced myself, but you can do it again, Rev, because you do it so eloquently. Rev?
I'll introduce you twice, Sid.
Nothing wrong with that, my man.
Welcome, everybody, to the Simple Playz. Want to certainly welcome our pro host straight out of West Haven, Connecticut, by way of the Pittsburgh Steelers and a Super Bowl, Mr. Ulish Booker. By way of Jeff City, through the greatest barbecue city in the entire world. That's right, I'm biased. Former Kansas City Chief Steve Barton. We want to welcome our NFL coach. He's straight off the airplane. NFL coach Randy Hanson. So welcome, Randy. We've got another special treat tonight. We've got our fantasy football guru. He's straight out of Minneapolis by way of River Falls now, Jeremy Johnson. And a guy I'm looking forward to cutting it up with. But everything, before we get there, everything you see, everything you hear is brought to you by Playz Graphics. Troy, I'm going to get to you in a second, but I got to bring in the leader who likes to jump the gun. He's our Captain Kirk to this USS Enterprise. This entire universe is moving in the direction of one Sid Thompson. Me, I'm the Rev. I'm just here behind the scenes to let everybody know you're all welcome on this ship called the Simple Playz. Troy, Gary, we want to welcome you tonight to our show, as well as our entire audience, brought to you by the Global Spartan Network, Global Sport Testing, Gorilla Sports, and we're looking for a beer sponsor. That's what our fantasy football guy said. So if you're thirsty and you're looking for a home, we got a spot for you. Welcome to the Simple Playz.
Well, thank you, Rev. Yes, thank you, Rev. As always. Bravo. Good job. So, gentlemen, let's start out tonight on a little bit of talking points. First of all, first 10 minutes, we're going to talk about sports, but I would be remiss if I did not mention the passing of a legend, an icon in broadcasting, Vin Scully. I mean, those that know Vin Scully, his voice is just one you remember. And I want to make sure I throw that out. And, Rev, I'm sure you have some stories on that. We could go on quite a while about that, but we'll just keep it at that. Just wanted to say, may he rest in peace. He's up there with all the other legends, shaking hands right now and looking down on us. So, real quickly, let's talk a little bit about what's going around in sports. One thing that comes to mind, I want to do a baseball right out of the bat. Since we got Troy on, I want to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to jump into two topics that you guys are going to ramble on. But first of all, that Soto trade with regards to probably going to be one of the highest paid baseball players in professional baseball in all sports. Soto traded to San Diego. Troy, I want to get your quick, we'll keep it to like a minute or so, your quick thoughts on that trade, because that's huge for the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, San Diego seems to be all in this year in the next couple of years. Between those three guys, that's almost $1 billion in contracts. $500 million for Soto and $300 for Tatis, and the other one, Machado, he makes $200 million. So between those three, almost $1 billion. They're going all in this year and the next couple of years to try to bring a ring to San Diego.
It's absolutely it's crazy to think that three players have that much in them, and they don't even save lives. Doctors don't get paid that hardly anything, so it says a lot about sports. But anyway, I had to bring that up. But that should be interesting. Though it's going to be interesting how they finish up this year down the stretch. So on a couple other notes, I want to point out one thing. Book's not here right now, but I think Book will be happy with this. To his Steelers wide receiver Deontay Johnson just signed a deal for $36.7 million. So they're going to have him, of which $27 million is guaranteed. Not a bad
Book's
gig.
got to run DoorDash right now to help pay for that contract for the Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Folks, you got 3 more deliveries.
There you go. So just a couple things there I had to bring up, but these next 2 topics, I'm sure we'll take up the majority of the remaining minutes here. I wanted to bring up, first of all, the Dolphins, gentlemen. All you probably seen what's going on with them. You all can, what say you about that? There's just so much to talk about there, and then of course we'll jump into Watson. So let's try to keep it to 3-4 minutes each to those. So let's just start with the Dolphins. Who wants to jump in there first? Because there's a lot of dirt there, Joe boys.
I'm telling Mom.
Well, I think that the owner, there is no punishment for the owners, and we're still waiting to see what's going to happen to Belichick from the not Belichick, what's the name from the Patriots with his scandal down in Florida. Nothing ever happens to these guys. They're supposed to be this epicenter of moral and ethical conduct. And that's what players and coaches are forced to adhere to and advocate, but then the owners do what they want to do. So, to me, this is probably the greatest example of a situation where the owner should be forced to surrender his team because he done stepped over all the lines, not 2 or 3, but all of them. So that's kind of my opinion when it comes to the Dolphins, that this is getting really ugly.
This is where, this is a good time to talk about definitions. When you own something, you don't rent it. So how do you get the owner to basically relinquish control of the team? Now I realize it did happen in the NBA with the Clippers. Wasn't that the Clippers a few years ago that the owner came out and said a few kind of racy things and ended up having to kind of give up ownership? I see this. Yeah. I see this whole thing as a little bit larger than Video Gate back in 2003, I think it was. But I think it's less than what we see with what's happening in Dallas with that ownership, with the payoff of the girl for 25 years. I think it's a little different than what we see with even Dan Snyder coming on, with Boogie Nights on, Thursday, Fridays, at the club. Hey, here's the deal, fellas. We can sit and scream and say, yes, he should do this or they should do that. But in the end, they own, they don't rent. And they're not renting these clubs. They're owning them. And we got to realize that humanity is what it is. And we're at a state now where it's not one owner that's doing dirt. We can name a handful right now. Now, do they go to Club Fed and get rehabilitated? No, they go spend another $400 or $500 million, and if they win, we all forget about it, like Videogate 2003.
Coach Hansen, Coach Hansen, have you been following that at all? You know what's going on with that? What are your thoughts being in the game there?
Well, I know how it works. I've been through NFL arbitration. Trust me, I know how it works. It's rigged. You can't win. So this you've just heard, I promise, the worst of it is over. It's going to die off. In fact, I think I read today that case is going to arbitration. And if that case goes to arbitration, nothing's going to happen as far as trying to throw games, offer 100,000. That's trust me, nothing will come of that. There's absolutely no way the commissioner who pays the commissioner?
The owner.
The commissioner.
Renters.
That's like me. I'm gonna discipline my boss. No, I don't think so. It's not gonna work that way. So.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. Is that the thing is there's no way to hold these guys accountable. Don't get me wrong. They make the investment in these cities, but then they ask the city, "Hey, you pay for all of the stadium. You pay for all of this stuff. We're going to take the lion's share of all the returns." and we're going to hold the city with the tax burden. That's what we got over here in Arrowhead. The $700 million in renovation on the stadium went to the people of Jackson County, and the people of Jackson County are paying that debt, while the owner just collects the tickets from the VIP and the TV revenue that they don't share with the city at all. So in that regard, that's where I think the cities need to start holding these guys accountable, because, again, you're sitting here selling this ethical, moral high ground that you're telling the players, the coaches, and the staff that they all have to adhere to. And then it's in all their contracts, because the conduct detrimental is in everybody's contract. So, but then the owner doesn't have to have any conduct whatsoever. He can go, get strippers and whatever.
Well, speaking of that, Steve, I don't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to keep this to a minimum because the next topic's coming up. The other side of this is Deshaun Watson, gentlemen. I must interject and say thoughts on that one, because that's a whole different game too, with the NFL now coming back and say, hey, 6 games. I don't think it's enough. And I agree. I don't think it's enough. So
hold on a second. You don't think it's enough, Sid? Those are all in. Let's do this right now. Let's just throw it out here. How many of those are in criminal court right now? How many of those were arbitrated in criminal court?
0.
Yeah. But gentlemen,
and let's not forget the time served. I mean, Deshaun wasn't anywhere to be seen last year. So 6 games plus.
We are at the precipice of double standards, folks. We got one side of the deal where they say, hey, do as I say, not as I do. We know how that all worked out when we were kids, okay? I had my Coors Light banquet beer when I was 4. I mean, come on.
I'm just saying, guys, if you look at it and they look at some of these other ones like Ridley, Hopkins.
Another one.
What they got and what he's getting, I don't know. But anyway, Troy, your thoughts on that real quick before we go to break and come back with fantasy? You have any thoughts on either one of these 2 topics we just brought up? Because it's, we could talk all day on this.
With the Watson thing, and the appeal by NFL, he'll start the season, but I think that the 6 games will probably hold up.
Works for me. So, gentlemen, let's take a quick break there, guys. We're going to come back at 7:15 mark. We'll come back and talk a little fantasy with Jeremy, get that rolling, because the preseason starts tonight. I mean, we're all excited about that, right?
Now.
Yeah. Oh wait, we can turn on the first minute and watch the first few snaps, and then get back to the show, right?
Make it happen.
Throw a quick break on there.
Spartan Global Network, a platform that will provide various types of useful lifestyle products and services that will help people in need. Spartan Global Network, in conjunction with Affinity Consumer Alliance, presents an online subscription-based platform that's bundle inclusive, based on level selection. Spartan Global Network provides access to unique insurance coverages for you and your family. Mobile phone breaks down? Our mobile rescue plan covers more than 15 common repairs and even water damage maintenance. Car broke down while on the road? We offer 24-hour roadside assistance to make sure that you are safe and covered in the event of an emergency while on the road. Going for travel? We are able to offer our members discounts on flights, hotels, rental cars, vacation packages, cruises, and more. So, what are you waiting for? Visit our website for more info at SpartanGlobalNetwork.com.
And we are back with our expert, our own Jeremy Johnson, for the next 10-15 minutes, talking a little fantasy, getting into this year, and then it's starting up tonight, the Hall of Fame games. So, Jeremy, I'm going to throw it to you, and let's start talking a little ball. Working on that audio. There we go.
So, sorry about that. I couldn't quite hear you there, Sid, with the intro to the fantasy deal, but we've got a weather delay. The season has started, but the game has not. We are on a weather delay. Jacksonville and Las Vegas, Canton, Ohio. Just be patient, NFL fans. We'll get rolling sooner or later.
All right, well, Mother Nature, you don't mess with Mother Nature. So we're getting into this fantasy thing here, Jeremy. Let's talk about some of the things we talked about in our pre-show here last night and the night before. What we got going here coming into this season now? Because I can say some things to talk about.
Well, speaking of the Pittsburgh Steelers, we're looking at Kenny Pickett, when we spoke last, we talked about some of the surefire guys and some of the strategy and some of the easy things. But this week we were going to touch base on a few sleepers. And when you talk sleepers, a lot of people think these rookies that are coming to the league. So Kenny Pickett in the mix in Pittsburgh is a guy that I'm looking for. Desmond Ridder in Atlanta. You know, should he get some playing time? I definitely think he and Drake London, who is a wide receiver for the Falcons, is going to have a decent year. So those are two guys. You know, I really like the combinations when you're in a fantasy league. You want to grab a quarterback and a receiver, and if they're both productive, it's kind of where you get your little bit of an edge as well. But I will say, from the running back standpoint, and I wanted to get Troy's live and personal opinion, since he was so high on Breece Hall of the Jets. But Breece Hall of the Jets is a running back that could turn a lot of heads, if he's able to sneakily make his way up into the depth chart, maybe grab some carries from Michael Carter. But Troy, what is it about Breece Hall that you enjoy and you like so much?
Yeah, he's a big physical back. You know, he'll cut through the tackles and get those extra 2-3 yards for you. So I think with him, he's gonna by midseason he'll be their primary back. Carter's kind of more of a third down back. Bring him on third down, catch a ball out of the backfield. But Breece Hall, big back. I think it'll help the Jets quite a bit. Especially he'll get a lot of goal line touches. So look for him. I would say, third round would be a good starting point to draft him.
And another physical running back who some are familiar with his brother, a chef by the name of Dalvin Cook. But we have James Cook drafted into the league, who's going to get some carries. And I see him being a goal line vulture type of running back out of Buffalo. But those are a couple of the rookie running backs to keep your eye on. I know with receivers, we mentioned Drake London. One of the other rookie receivers, you mentioned me being here in River Falls, Wisconsin. Diehard Vikings fan, don't worry. But Packers land here, a lot of talk about the young NDSU receiver, Christian Watson.
Yes.
And you saw what happened in Green Bay. Devontae's gone. Valdez-Scantling, MVS they call him. He's moved on to Kansas City. Look for a big year for him as well. But Christian Watson is a rookie that is in Green Bay that, they're going to give him the keys to the car, and we'll see if he can drive week 1. So I really like Christian Watson from NDSU.
Well, I like your thinking there. He went from one green and gold team to another green and gold team. So we'll see how he does this year. And he's probably going to be on my team if I can get him, just so you know. Just so you know, because he's, backer.
Yeah. But
I see why, Sid. Now I see why you like the Bison, because you don't have to change your socks on game day. All right.
That's their feeder system. That's their farm club.
Keeping it with the Bison.
I would say that the thing about and again, I'm not a fantasy guy, so I'm just trying to discover this stuff. But kind of my experience from all the teams I played for, the guy to look for is that third receiver in the rotation and that second running back, the second or third running back, because they wind up getting snaps because the starter 9 times out of 10 they get hurt, or especially with receivers they draw the 1 and 2 draw the double coverage, and that third guy is the one that's open. So from
Steve,
our experience,
Steve, are you hustling us and saying you've never played fantasy, but now
as you're telling me about it, I'm sitting there thinking, well, you know what? Because the only reason you know who Nate Burleson is because of Randy Moss.
He's kind of laying in the weeds, I think. Yeah.
It's not Nate Burleson is a great receiver, and take nothing from him. But when you got that double coverage going over there, well, hell, what's Pep got to do? He's got to check down. He can't just go to that guy.
Right.
Nate Wiggins.
Wiggins, another one. That's another great example.
And the guy that just mentioned that, we got to watch out for him too, because he's a sleeper too, and Coach Hansen there, Jeremy.
Yeah, and with that thinking and that strategy in mind, maybe Coach Hansen can attest to this, but these star receivers, these surefire fantasy guys, these guys who get all the glory, they're one injury away from, out for a year. And when that happens, it is next man standing. So, your 04 Vikings and Nate Burleson, that's a great example. You can go beyond that. Guys like Matthew Hatchett back in '98, they were, somewhat fantasy relevant just because they're playing behind such great, receivers that get that double coverage. So good point, Steve. I like where your head's at. I'm very interested to see how this draft pans out. The draft that we all are putting together, it'll be the 29th, Monday, the 29th of August. So we'll be sure to follow up and provide some how did we do's and maybe some grades on our draft, each of the teams we draft on the 29th. We'll see what Rev's up to. Rev, you got a pen and paper there, I see.
I do, but I'm here to lower expectations, so I'm going to bring the average down a little bit. I'm just already straight out of the gate. There's my spoiler. If you guys are here, my job right here. Maybe even a little lower. Right
he said he's turning the punch bowl.
And I will one other note just on the tight end side of it. Not really diving into rookies there, but Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. We know what he and Gronk have done in their many years in the league. But I'm interested to see how the tight end competition boils out in Tampa between Cameron Brate and Kyle Rudolph, newly signed Kyle Rudolph, who had a very down year last year. I believe he had like 23 catches, 260 yards, and I think 1 touchdown in New York. But I think Kyle Rudolph's going to have a chance and some opportunities to get some goal line catches there as well.
I think Brady will balance that out because, he's always used Gronk as his go-to guy in certain special situations, but now he's got a 1 and 2 receiver. I mean, it just makes sense that he would balance it out to
find that with older quarterbacks, though, that they seem to just have a better idea of the field. And when you've got, you think about Brady down there with those wide receivers, that is a one-on-one with either a safety or a backer outmatched because Kyle Rudolph's too tall. And so if Kyle comes out of this, he's going to probably have a really good year because he's got obviously he's got a veteran quarterback, but a guy that loves to drop to tight ends. So
that's true. That's true.
5 years old today, right?
He's what?
How?
45 years old today, right? Tom Brady's birthday is today. 45.
I believe he is. I think Jack Wilson's 23 today.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Tom Brady is 45 today.
Oh, he's a spring chicken, right, guys?
Can they protect him?
I'm 44.
Can they protect
44, but there's nothing in this arm.
Hey, I'm telling you, in 2002, Brady told the team when they were changing the rules for protection of the quarterback, he said back then, hey, if they change the rules, I'll play till I'm 50.
I remember that.
Yep.
I remember that.
So he's 5 more years. So, because he's not getting beat up like he was when he first played.
All I want to ask is, how's Giselle looking? Still 5? Okay, he's playing until he can't play anymore. That's all I'm saying. He's playing until Giselle doesn't look good. That's how long he's playing.
We're kind of getting off the topic on fantasy. We're getting in a different fantasy world there, Rev. So get it in, buddy. Watch yourself. That's a whole different topic. So, but because at the bottom, we're getting close to NIL talk with the King NIL coming up here at Raekwon. So just kind of some thoughts here, Jeremy, before we kind of jump into that. Our guest here coming on.
Yeah, sure. I would say next week we're actually going to dive in to a few experts mock drafts, and I'm going to go ahead and just pick. We'll talk maybe a steal of each round, and we'll throw some names out, and we'll just get everyone's opinions on how they think certain players are going to do. Because really, when it comes to draft, it's not a fine science. You need again, what was PA's? You need a chip, a chair, and a chance.
Chip and a chance.
Okay, chip, a chair, and a chance.
Anyone, I've been in a lot of leagues and a lot of newcomers that have come in one league. So it's really just anyone's game.
I'm the dark horse here. Troy's like, he's already called that he's going to be the winner. So I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, Troy.
All right, Sid.
I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm just going to okay.
Yeah, thanks for having me on this week, guys, and we'll catch up with you. We'll talk mock draft next week.
Sounds
awesome.
Good.
Getting closer. Looking forward to it. So let's take a quick break, gentlemen. Steve-O, if you want to pull that break up, then we'll bring Raekwon in here. He's in the waiting, I guess, back in the back room, if I recall. If you see him there, you got him there?
Yep.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the king of NIL, Raekwon Smith, here after this break. Hey, we're back. Quick. Steve-O.
Sorry.
Sweat. Caught in the relentless duel between staying active and struggling to stay fresh, we searched for a better alternative. The Swag Rag provides the perfect solution to sweat stains and embarrassing perspiration by revolutionizing the way we battle sweat. Gone are the days in which we were forced to carry around an unseemly rag to wipe away unwanted sweat. By introducing fashion-forward thinking to the world of wet resistance, we have created a smarter way to stay dry. The Swag Rag is made in America with hand-selected fabrics designed to be gentle on the skin but tough on sweat. By making it both trendy and convenient, we have bridged that embarrassing gap between looking good and staying prepared.
And we are back here at the Simple Playz. Folks, we are now joined by the king of NIL. This gentleman has over 70, I believe probably more than that now. He can tell us when he comes on here shortly. He's got the likes of endorsements from Body Armor, Arby's, Champs, Spikeball. I want to hear about that one. The Cathlete at Norfolk State. Been in a lot of different places. In Forbes recently, back in June of this year. He's been on Paul Finbaum's show. His LinkedIn says marketing advertising specialist and just all around mover and shaker. Raekwon Smith. Raekwon, welcome to the show. We got the sound there, my man.
Oh, we can't hear you, Raekwon.
Oh, hey, you got yourself muted. He's like, oh, no. So,
Okay, we heard some of it.
We got the dog barking in the background. That's probably you, Steve-O.
No, that's
My dog upstairs.
my dog.
Go ahead, Ray.
It's all good. Probably using an iPhone to have that settings. Are you using an iPhone or tablet there, Raekwon?
Hold it. iPhone. You have to change the settings on the car.
I think that was a good time to get a plug in for Raekwon to get a Samsung. Huh? We get
There you go.
comment. I'm just gonna go with it and go, hey, come on, Samsung, give him some love. See what happens. Because if I do Apple, can we get some love? I know that they're gonna send Steve a large phone.
We're not going to do anything Apple. Absolutely nothing Apple.
Oh, the wonderful
It's
world
not
of
that I hate it.
technology.
Yeah.
I think we got to have Will and Raekwon connect here. And it's like, man, what's going on here? It's all probably.
Hey, we keep talking smack while you can't talk, man. That's how we do this over here at the Simple Playz. It's real simple. So.
Exactly. I don't know if he can read the chat, but I'm trying to type in the chat to check your settings if it's an iPhone or Apple.
You know, while we're talking about it, I think it's absolutely amazing that these kids are going out without agents and actually becoming the agents. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but they used to say in the legal terms, he who defends himself as a fool for a client, okay? Whereas really the entire system of rights as well as defense, if you don't know it and somebody's speaking on behalf for your freedom, I think it's a little nonsensical not to have that kind of information. So watching these kids go out and do the job of an agent, of a marketing agent, of a, of their sports guy, that they're, the guy that just signed them and now is getting 4 or 5% or maybe 20% of a contract on each endorsement deal. These kids are going out and finding their own deals. And I find it absolutely refreshing in this day and age, because what we're seeing is the control moving from what we call the control group to the masses. And once that happens, we're no longer going to be using he who defends himself as a fool for a client. We're going to start understanding that each of these people can stand on their own feet and go out and get their own business. So my hat's off to Raekwon, to Jack, to the rest of these NIL kings to go out and handle their business. Go out and get some. They hustle, they bustle, and they rustle. And at the end of the day, they've got a nice crown on their head and some endorsement deals in their pocket.
Yeah, Raekwon's checking to see if he can hear him. Hear him say something there, my man. We got you.
Now,
we're going back to what you. Yeah, going back to what you commented on there, Rev. And I'm sorry if I pronounce the name like Corinne, or is it Karen? I apologize. She said, "Hey, they shouldn't." So I don't know. Going back to your comment there, so I'm not sure about that. Hey, we got audio. Is that you?
Is that me? Can you hear me?
Hey, we got you, my man.
Okay.
Were you able to hear us at least talking about you?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
I hear myself.
Korean. All right, Korean. I apologize. Now I love it when people do phonetics on that and they spell it out for me, because when I broadcast, I've been known to butcher a name or two. So I appreciate that, Korean. So you heard my intro about. Let's just. We're gonna probably roll you in a little bit longer if we can. Where do we start here, guys? Talk a little bit about where this all started.
Well, my curiosity is.
Yeah, let's start from the beginning first, Steve-O. Let's go back. Where this all started. About you.
When you heard about NIL and the opportunities, what made you just pick up and just start going?
Yeah, me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, all right. Let's refresh the question. I'm ready.
Well, I'm asking you, what made you, when NIL opened up, what made you say, let me go out and do something different, or just go out and take it?
So when NIL, I can hear myself echo.
You're delayed. It happens.
So
turn your
when,
volume down.
Yeah, me. So when the NIL first started, July 1st, didn't know too much about it. I was probably the last one to know about it. So by like 10 o'clock, people was posting about it, NIL, and this and that. I'm like, okay, what is this? Our school didn't talk nothing about it because I go to HBCU. So I had to do my own research, had to figure out what NIL is. So once I figured out what it was, I said, okay, well, market yourself. You feel me? You get paid to market yourself. That's probably the easiest thing you can do. So I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a format. I'm going to reach out to 100 companies and see when I wake up how many reach out back to me. So when I woke up, only 3 responded, 2 were rejections, and 1 was proved by Smart Cups. And Smart Cups is like hydration. You put the water inside, you mix it around, then you drink it before practice. So I was like, okay, well, I got Smart Cups. That's my first deal. So how many more can I get? I'm looking at other big time schools. Okay, they're getting 1 deal per like $1 million or $500K. I'm like, okay, well, I'm probably not getting all that. I go to HBCU. So how much deals can I get all together to build up to that much money?
So So when you were going in and you're cutting these deals, as you started to get them, what gave you the momentum to just keep grinding and picking up more deals? Just your format?
I just wanted to do. I like my grind was basically like I want to show people we can get deals at HBCU because at the time it was only Power Fives. So my job was like, okay, let me see if I can get deals at HBCU, and once I can do, I'm gonna get my the same strategy I did with other people, so they can get deals too.
Oh, awesome. You guys?
I wanted to ask you going back because I mean you're very entrepreneurial in your mind. I mean, if I'm hiring somebody, I'm going for somebody like you that's working their butt off. So where does that come from? If I read your bio a little bit, I've read some things on you. Talk a little bit about your past growing up. I mean, this had to start from where you grew up and how you were raised. So tell me a little bit about that.
I grew up with 5 brothers. I'm second youngest. Single mom. Dad passed away. But before he passed away, I used to see how he like financial his money, make sure he know how to do with his money and stuff. So that's what I got to like the the money learning. This echo is really bothering me.
Yeah, turn it down a little bit. Turn down
Turn your volume down some more.
Yeah, maybe that'll have a big difference.
I can't hear you, all right, man.
You turn your volume down just a little bit more. It shouldn't echo so bad.
Yeah.
So basically, like, I seen him like financial his money right, doing what he need to do with his money, count his money, and just showing me how to just save up and everything. So that's why I got my learning experience. And my mom's side, she was basically telling me how to just doing what mom do and everything. That's me growing up. Then I went to I played football when I was younger, ran track, went to high school, won 3 state championships, ran track. My mom was a coach. I went to HBCU, Norfolk State University, played football first year, freshman year. COVID hit sophomore year. My junior year, we had a coaching staff change. I had a decision to leave or stay with the new coach. I decided to stay, and that's when NIL came through. Didn't know too much about it, like I said. So I guess that really changed everything that was going through my life. Because at the time, I wasn't really focused on NIL or just getting money doing what I was doing. I was just focused on playing football.
How many guys come to you for assistance with getting NIL deals? Is your whole team working with you, or you get guys coming from all around the country? What?
All around the country. Power 5, HBCUs, D2, D3, JUCO. Some high schoolers, like, it don't matter what school. I have a lot of Power 5 people in my DM, So when I see Power 5 people in my DM, it's basically saying, okay, now they know they at a high level, but they can't get the deals they thought they could get. So now they need to know how can they get the deals, and that's when they come to me and I talk to them how I did the way I did it, and I just change. What do? I get to them. That's my job. I want to help everybody get help as soon as possible. Just so they can get on the right track as me.
So 2 questions on that, Raekwon. So first of all, what's your major? What are you majoring in?
Mass communication broadcasting.
Okay. Secondly, on that, that's a good fit. Have you thought about starting your own company to help others like this? Is that something have you ever brought up in the back of your mind? Thought about that?
Start my own company. Well, I talked to my agent about like starting like a website or like an app to like get kids signed up, and they have their own profile, put their own bio and everything. Have other companies come on my platform, and so they can help other athletes sign deals and everything. But that takes money and takes time. So as right now, I just host my own classes or my own Zoom classes and everything just to help the kids or parents learn more about NIL because some parents don't know about it. So I try to get much knowledge I can give it to them.
Absolutely. So if you were to give any advice right now to anybody starting out and looking into this, whether they're D2, D or D3, because everybody thinks D1, they're getting all the big deals, but this is for everybody. You're a prime example of this. So what would you say to a lacrosse player or a soccer player or any sport, in a smaller school? What advice would you give them? I'm
gonna give them the same advice I would give to anybody. Be yourself. Don't take no as a rejection. No is basically telling you need to work a little harder so you can get where you need to be at. And the main thing I always tell people, just be yourself. Be consistent. Create content and just be yourself. That's the main thing. Be yourself.
Speaking of content, if I see this correctly, it said in that Forbes article, 99,000 TikTok followers, almost 19,000 on Instagram. That was back in June. Those numbers are pretty crazy. Are those up to date? I mean, you're kicking it, man.
Yeah, I just reached 19K on Instagram. I'm at 98 probably on TikTok and probably 4,000 on Twitter. You know, I grew my platform and started high school for Instagram. So I knew I could grow my platform. When it comes to TikTok, I just grew myself. So, people like that.
I think you're going to be the Puffy of sports. You Puff Daddy of sports because you can, you get that first crew, and then that's all she wrote. And by all means, press your career, but brother, you are at the leading edge. You're the tip of the spear in making this stuff work. So it's an honor to have you on here, and I'm certainly proud of you for stepping out there because it takes courage to step out there and try something that nobody's doing, and then everybody's looking at you like you're crazy. Like, what are you doing? Because you're the one that's doing something different. It's like, that's not how things are done. It's like, well, it can be done, so I'm going to do it. So by all means, I certainly admire and commend you for stepping out there and trying. And I certainly hope we can work together because that's what we're trying to do. I tried years ago when I was in the NFL to get back to college and help set up a players association and to basically do something to this nature. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. And when NIL opened, I'm like, I got to do something. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're here for. So we're here to certainly advocate and help folks like you and people, especially with your ambition and drive, to jump out there and do something different. Troy, you got any for?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Troy, you got any questions for him there? I'd love to hear your thoughts. What you got for him?
Okay. So yeah, you kind of talked about how it started, and you're up to 70. Is that correct right now?
Yeah, I got 70.
Okay. So yeah, your advice for those D2, D3 guys that don't think that this is for them, and like, how can they, start their process and trying to get some deals here?
Well, I have a friend. I met him on Instagram. Then I met him in person at the NIL Summit. His name is Jazz Bet. He's a D3-4 player from Ambrose, and I taught him the ways that I started. I gave him the knowledge. Now he's doing basically what I'm doing. He call himself the 3D King of NILs, and he basically paved the way to show that you could get deals at 3D now. So it's really no excuse for nobody to say he can't get deals because he's doing it too. So no, that's my prime example. That's who. If any 3D or D2 person say something, I'm gonna say, well, look at him because he's doing it. So there's really no excuse for somebody to say they can't get deals at that level.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jack, and you had Jack on the show there, Sid, didn't you?
Yeah, we had Jack was on, a great guest, and like I say, that's came from Raekwon's advice there. So I've got a question here from Corinne. She asked you, Raekwon, she says, what are your plans for what sport you're currently playing, which is being a decathlete for 22-23, and school sport/NIL life balance? That's really a good one. How do you balance all this stuff? I mean, right now
the balance is very easy. I promise you, the balance is very easy. You're your top priority. Schools first. Sports. Then NIL is last. So your top priority. So there's really figure out what's your balance because what comes first. What comes first. If you have a podcast or a team meeting, what comes first. If you have a test or you have some content to create, what comes first. So there's no rocket science to it. What comes first. Top priority.
Okay, I have a question because I think it needs to be known or mentioned. Is that what do you do as an athlete looking at NIL? Because I don't think a lot of these people understand when you sign a contract, because legal wise and that the fine print. What am I signing? I mean, can you talk a little bit about that whole process about my name, image, and likeness? Am I signing it for the rest of my life, or am I signing it for this period of time, for the season? Or how has that gone about for you? I mean, what going?
So when the contract part is, so when I get a contract, I look over it first. Then I send it to my agent. Then I send it to my compliance office. So then my agent sent to who you need to look at. So the contract is getting through a lot of people before I sign anything. I make sure I read it over, make sure it fits me. If it sounds good, the value of the worth is good. And then from there, once my agent read over it, he would tell me if it's good and or if something need to be changed or if something needs to be, added on to it and everything. So that's when it comes to the contract part. I always make sure we double read, make sure it's good before we sign anything.
So is that you and Freddie working together? Or do you have someone other than Freddie that helping you out?
Well, Freddie had his own. So and Freddie agency, he had his own legal people in there. So or when I go to him, he goes to his people, and that's how we go together.
So another question that came up here on the screen is how are you tracking your deals and your deliverables? Do you have some sort of system right now? Because that's the other thing. If you got 70, I mean, holy man, I'm having a tough enough time just keeping track of my prospects and my real business in a spreadsheet or in my CRM. What do you do? How do you go about that?
So we have a spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet got all my deals, how much I get from it. We track the money. We track how many deals I have, deliverables. I mean, I just know, because I keep track of it myself. Sometimes I might put in my notes, so little reminders that I have to do this by a certain time. So some stuff I got to take accountable, and then if I forget, my agent gonna remind me.
Okay. So Freddie's a big part of this with you there. I mean, you guys
Yes.
talk a lot, consistently back and forth. You still working on
We
deals?
talk every day.
Do you have a goal, an end goal in this? I mean, do you plan? I mean, let's get 100. Let's get whatever. Do you have an end goal?
The end goal is leave a legacy. I want people to remember when anytime NIL come up, my name should come first. That's what I'm gonna leave. That's what I'm gonna do.
I want you to help me host this Twinkie endorsement.
Say it one more time.
I want you to help me get a this Twinkie endorsement for this show.
Rev, if you can see Rev, I think more like the Pillsbury Doughboy, Rev.
Bro, Twinkie endorsement. I don't want the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Okay. So he can show us how to do that, Rev. He's the man. He knows how to go about it.
I need that endorsement. I need to scoop up that hostess endorsement.
There you go. Well, we can talk to him off there.
Just talk to me.
Well, I can tell you from my experience, especially when I played, you got to build your team, and it sounds like you already have that understanding. The biggest thing I tell you in a heartbeat is know your contracts, know them through and through. Keep them simple, stupid.
Yeah,
if you don't understand what you're reading, don't sign it. And even when they break it down to you, and that's your agent and whoever else you're talking to, you make sure you, your mom, your cousin, whoever, when they read it, they understand it and that they know what you're getting into, because that's often, especially with NIL, you're signing away that likeness, and you need to know that there's a termination in every contract. Oftentimes, lawyers don't put in the termination. So that's what makes the contract go on indefinitely. You don't want that. Technically, it's void because it's supposed to have a termination in there.
And that's why I was asking earlier, Stephen, about that too, the whole aspect about that. So that's a good question, good point to make note of.
Plain and simple. If you don't understand what you're signing, you don't sign it. Plain and simple. Yep.
So,
little common sense.
Yeah. So Corinne had a question again, which is another good one, and thank you for these questions, Corinne. Corinne's on top. It's like, how do your teammates respond to your NIL success? He's kind of. Oh, okay. Let's put him.
Okay,
make him bigger on the screen again. Let's see that response. I want to see how he looked on that. He kind of did these. Oh no.
So how my teammates respond to my NIL success? Okay, we're gonna start with football. There's 100 people on that team.
Yep.
All 100 is not cool with it. Put it like that. You're gonna have people that support it, and you're gonna have some people that hate it and a little jealousy and all that stuff. But the thing is, I don't know why they're jealous or hating when I'm the one who's trying to help them get to where I'm at too. So I'm the person, if I ever get something, I always throw it in like the group chat we have. Hey, y'all should hit this company up. Y'all should do this, y'all do that. So there's never I never try to help to put them in any type of deals. So there's no reason why they get upset or whatever or how they feel. I really don't care. But yeah. So but with track though, 100% support. no hating. They all with me, and they all listen. So I just feel like it's a you know.
Well, you got to understand, people hate change. And
Mhm.
that's what you get when you're doing something like this. You're an agent of change. And when you tell people that, hey, I'm doing something different, and especially if you're not the star guy, then the star's like, wait a minute, I've been doing this, I've been busting my tail, da, da, da. Why is he getting all the deals? And I'm the guy that should be getting all the deals. And it's like, well, he's understanding that this is business. It's not just about playing the game no more. This is about
Mhm.
marketing. And
Mhm.
what people don't understand oftentimes, when you're the one that's the agent of change, the people that don't want to see the change or have done it by the book, they're the ones that first get mad because, oh, here's this new guy doing new stuff, doing new this, doing that. So you piss them off just because they're riding the path that they've been programmed to ride. And here you are trailblazing, and that scares them. So, moreover anything else, I'm glad you mentioned that you got haters, because I had haters my whole life. And if it wasn't for haters, I wouldn't be where I'm at. That's just what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Because
Well,
the haters move you more than anybody else. I promise you that.
Steve, let me spin off of that, because if everybody liked you, then you got a problem, in my opinion. If everybody likes you, you're not doing it right. Because if you don't
Yeah,
have this,
yeah, definitely.
that's the way I look
That's
at it.
definitely is. That definitely is.
Yeah, so.
If everybody loves you, you're selling ice cream. That's the only job where everybody will love you.
You don't have enemies, you haven't done anything.
Yeah, and then we've all been there, guys. We can't you can't make everybody happy, but the main thing is take care of the house, take care of your home, take care of
Yes,
the
of
family. That's
course.
more important than everybody else. So, and I want to talk about that too. I got to point out, last night you couldn't come on because you know what you were doing. You were helping your mom out, helping your mother out, and that's awesome. So, and that just tells me, hey, this is a guy. He's helping out his family comes first. That's truly the most important thing in life. So. And I think, guys, we were going to have Will on, but I don't know if he's going to make it on tonight, because I'm told that I think he's at the airport. We had that member last night. He was talking about that. So we can keep talking about this, because I don't know how much time you got there, Raekwon, because we're going to go into NIL, talk about some of the things going on, too. Maybe we can get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm here.
Okay. Because, like I say, I don't know about you guys back in the background, but if that's okay with you, because at the top of the hour, we usually have Will on for a few minutes, because he's got this tailgating thing going. If he pops on, I'll let you know. Steve, let us know. But otherwise, we can continue on this topic in NIL and what's going on around the league. You guys cool with that?
That's cool.
Absolutely. So, yeah, let's just take a quick break. We throw a quick break in there, Steve. We'll come back and then continue this conversation with Raekwon, King of NIL, and we'll be back after a short break. So throw it on there, Steve.
On August 2nd, I will be riding the vertical equivalent of Mount Everest to raise awareness for rare disease. My goal? To reach 29,032 people. To have them acknowledge those suffering in relative silence. To pledge $1 to the cause and share this message. A rare disease is classified as any disease that affects less than 200,000 people in the world at any given time. This makes each rare disease an anomaly, meaning that they don't have the numbers for research, funding, and cures. These people and their families suffer every day, and no one is talking about it. That is what I want to change.
We're back, and that's okay. He is actually coming on our show. I don't have the day off the top of my head, but he's going to be riding the equivalent of Mount Everest for charity there about those diseases. So it'll be interesting to hear his story coming up here in a few weeks. So we're back here talking NIL with the king of NIL, Raekwon Smith. And by the way, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about this. How was the NIL Summit? Can you give us your thoughts and feedback on that? Because you got an award out there. And tell us about, hobnobbing with all these other athletes and, some teams, some corporations and stuff that were there. What was that all about? How did you do?
Oh, he muted.
Oh, okay. Raekwon, I'm sorry, buddy. Did you mute yourself there?
Hold on. Go ahead.
Are you muted?
I turned you back on.
The lovely world of technology.
That's probably the issue, the earphones.
Oh.
What earphones?
His? I don't think you got him in.
No,
you're clear on my side.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Okay.
There we go.
The wonderful world of tech. Hey, the wonderful world of tech.
It would not let me click the unmute button.
Oh,
The
it's
NIL
wonderful.
Summit was
Yes, let's talk about that.
It was fantastic. It was fun. I can't wait to go back next year. I met a lot of people, a lot of athletes, a lot of celebrities. Just a lot of people who want to connect and get to know each other and just learn more about the business aspect of the NIL.
Well, that's awesome. I know you, like you said, we mentioned Jack was on our show, and Griff, UCLA, right? You're good friends
Chase,
with him.
good friend.
Chase, yeah, I'd love to have him. Love to get him on too, talking about. So you guys are, the pioneers, and you guys are going to have memories and be friends for the rest of your life. It's something to remember. So that's pretty cool. Next week we're going to have someone on talking a little esports. I got to ask you this: a lot of ballers, a lot of athletes, they're into gaming. You do any gaming? Because I tweeted the other day, last night actually. Amon Green's got an actual show talking about esports. So former Packer, but it doesn't matter. He's a former NFL player. Are you into that sort of thing? Because that's also a big sport that's probably got some NIL opportunities going.
I mean, I play the game. I mean, I play Madden, 2K, and GTA, but yeah, that's all.
Okay. I'm just curious. So, what is your involvement? Involved with Norfolk State? I have to believe that. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's an HBCU school, correct? How's your involvement been with regards to that? Have you guys talked about that? The involvement with the HBCU schools, and are you trying to get more involved with them? On a higher level?
Far as NIL wise?
Yeah, exactly.
I try to get our school involved. Our school won't really involve with it until they see what I was doing.
Okay.
So they trying to get involved and trying to learn new things about it and trying to just have me talk to the athletes to help them get to where I'm at now.
Okay. Gentlemen, any other questions? Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Make sure when you do this, I mean, look, you every single piece. This is the thing I didn't know until after I was in the game and understood. But every time you speak to that school, you should get paid.
Okay.
Every time you talk to any group of people, you should get paid. So people want that's the thing is that the NCAA has had just an absolute monopoly on the college athlete. And,
free work.
Yeah, but literally. And we'll tell you my story briefly. When I was a senior, I was the man at Mizzou, and I had my oldest son, and I'm going to Target to get some diapers, and I'm scrounging change out of my ashtray to go get some diapers. And then I go in there, and they got my jersey on sale, number 98. Now, they didn't have my name on the back, but they had 98. And I'm like, it was Columbia, so everybody knew who I was. And I'm like, the jersey's for sale for $30. I'm like, damn, can I get $5 off of that? So I don't have to scrounge for diapers? But that's where I was at. That's what it did. And then when I got to the league, all the autograph signings, all of the special appearances, everything, every single place we went, I got a check for it, which shocked me because I'm like, in college, I didn't get paid for none of that. So just keep that in mind when you're doing all of this stuff. It's like, look, you're not being greedy or anything like that. You're just saying, I know my value. And that's what you need to do is just always advocate your value and never let anybody sell you short. It's like, look, I got no problem coming and doing your book signing or your talk to your people, to talk to your high school. That's fine. But by all means, let them know, hey, I'm not doing it for free. I mean, you're a commodity, so you have to sell it as such.
Well, right now he's a brand, and a brand, you are your brand, and you are marketing. You talked about, like I looked at your LinkedIn profile, and your LinkedIn profile said, hey, I'm a marketing advertising specialist. And what they are paid for what they do. So
yeah,
you're like a consultant. And, Corinne made another good comment. Corinne said the schools will find money in the budget if they want it. A lot of them don't know what to do with it now, so they're hesitating and holding on. So it's kind of shaking, SMA is shaking their head.
Sound about right. Right.
Exactly. So, and it looks like Will's going to pop in. He's going to try, and he's at the airport, I believe. So give him a few minutes. So, Troy, again, you got any comments, other questions regarding this whole matter? Because I think it's an honor to have the king of NIL on. So I wonder what your thoughts are. Anything else you have to come to mind? Any other questions for Raekwon?
Not at the moment here, Sid.
Okay. From a former coach's standpoint, Coach Hansen, who's been in the league with the Raiders and the Raiders, believe we're playing. What are your thoughts on this? Asking this young athlete. You have any questions down there, Coach Hansen, for Raekwon?
I'm learning right now. I don't know anything about this. So
You're just soaking it in. I hear you. That's not wrong with that. And that's what a lot of people are in this world. Raekwon, I live in southeastern Minnesota where there's a D3 school and a D2 school. And the NSIC school, which is Winona State, I saw a report that of all the conferences, NSIC was number 12 on NIL deals. I think that was by On3 or maybe NIL on Newsstand. I don't remember, but they were 12th. But yet this school in my community still had nothing to do with it. They didn't know anything about it. So it just shows you that there's still a lot of awareness needs to be done out there. A lot of awareness to be out there. So, but I know Will's on now. We want to take and bring him on. And Raekwon, you're welcome to stay on. It's up to you, my man. But we're going to bring in our fan, our super fan. He's got some things going with some tailgating things we're going to do throughout the country.
I actually have to go out to eat.
No problem. Understandable. I really appreciate coming on. I mean,
I appreciate y'all.
We went through a little.
Thanks for coming on, Raekwon. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Keep in contact. That is the king of NIL, Raekwon Smith. So long, buddy. Appreciate coming on. Appreciate it. So
go break.
Let's take a quick break. We'll bring our super.
Just a little tidbit.
Yeah. So with Nick, what I've seen from him is probably his biggest superpower is his ability to adapt. And what I mean by that, I've seen great coaches, come up with programs and they can win. They win championships and they have a style that is successful. And that doesn't mean though that you're going to continue to be successful, because if you understand football, people know the NFL is a copycat league, right? Well, football is really copycat if you think about it. And everybody looks at the NFL and it kind of trickles on down to the lower levels, lower divisions, college, high school, middle school, little leagues, and on. Now it's crazy. The development from the 7-on-7s and 5-on-5s, it's constant.
And we're back. That's okay, my man. That was Jason Strayhorn from one of our past shows, one of our Spartan guys, MSU Spartan, talking a little bit about Coach Saban, and book would be on talking about. And there is our man. Where is Will? Can we get big on the screen here, Steve-O? Steve-O, by the way, is filling in for our producer, Zach. Hey, there's Will. Will, you got the audio working, my man? Is the audio working in that? Did you? Oh my goodness, no. Fix the little thing. We got to love technology on the road. I hear something going on. Will? Troy, don't you love this with everybody there with technology?
The airport.
I know.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
There we go. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
We're
all right. Perfect. So, yep, we're at the airport right now. I got delayed 3 times this afternoon, so I'm finally at the airport getting ready to book all my stuff and all that fun stuff. And we also got a super fan guest with us, Lindsay. She's at the Hall of Fame with us in Canton, Ohio. She can show you everything that's going on site from Canton. And I'm just trying to wait at the airport to join these people. Lindsay, what's going on over there?
Where'd she go? She was on. She probably had
Oh,
connection.
shoot. I got it.
There she is. Okay, purplelicious. Hey, I love that purplelicious. She's got purple lipstick on. Do we got your sound there, Lindsay? Can you hear us? She's smiling up a storm, but I don't know about the audio going on.
Lindsay, you got to go to your settings on your iPhone, and it will say microphone iPhone.
There we go. She's going to fix that. So she's a super fan there from the Vikings, it looks like there. Well, as you can tell, she's fixing her audio. So did she at the Hall of Fame game tonight where it supposedly was a rain delay?
I don't know what's going on over there in Canton over there, but there obviously I'm getting delayed here out of Minnesota. So,
well, that's the thing. I've seen a lot of delays going on across the country. I saw a super fan now, the Texans fan. I forget her name. She was delayed too, trying to get to the Canton. Lindsay, we got you. I hear audio. I can't hear you though. Oh my! The lovely world of the interweb.
Can't hear you, Linz. Still can't hear
I
you.
just sent you a text message, Linz.
Okay, she got it set up. So that's the beauty of the internet when we're dealing with that. I don't know if that's we're going to have to get with Restream and find out how we can make it easier for folks running iPhones. Because Troy, you know all too well about this with Will, and we know all too well with Jeremy and Will and everybody else on there. Lindsay, do we got you? Please tell us if you got the audio fixed there, because we want to hear what's going on in Canton. We're from your with those purple lips, the purple Viking fan. We want to hear from you.
Oh, drop.
Well, let's move on. Will, what do we got going with this tailgater thing? I heard about it. Can you fill us in real quick? What's the story with that? And
Basically, it's a PFUFA. It's the Pro Football Ultimate Fan Association. They're having like a big reunion, the class of 2022. Lindsay, can you hear me?
Oh, heard her.
I think I'm hearing some. What?
hey, we got you! Woohoo! Hallelujah! Oh, we got you. I was waiting for those purple lips to say something. Lindsay, can you hear us?
Is the reception bad down there?
She's got a delay.
Yeah, it's probably the interwebs going wrong. I know there was
her signal was very weak.
Yeah, she was in Canton. So I tell you what, we'll not. Unfortunately, we're going to have to cut that. I think. Yeah, we're going to have to move on with that, guys. We can't continue. I know Lindsay's struggling.
But there's my stuff that's packed. Airport not too busy, as you can see.
Yep.
Because everybody else pretty much went out today. So now we just got my flight to go on, but essentially it's just a big fan reunion.
Okay. Lindsay's trying.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, I got you.
We got you.
All right. We're actually in Dover, and we take over the whole
place. Okay. Our connection's pretty bad, folks.
Yeah, it literally goes from full bars to 0.
Yeah. We're going to have to do something about that. So, Lindsay, no offense, but the connections are. We're loving your smile, and I know you're hearing us. We'd love to hear from you, but we're going to have to get you on live some other time because the connections.
Yeah, the connections is really bad.
Maybe just show what it's all about.
Yeah. Taking over the. Look at it. Look at all that stuff. Okay. They have taken over the place. All right. Well, we're hearing
parts of it, not the full thing.
Well, hey, enjoy yourself, Lindsay, because we're tell her we're going to have to learn. It sounds like she's having a blast. We're going to have to let you go.
Thanks, Lindsay. Be well.
Cut her out there, Steve. Sorry about that. Well, hey, that's the lovely world of the interweb, and it happens. So, guys,
highlights.
So well, we're gonna get back to things here because we're cutting here. We got about 20 minutes left of the show here on NIL. We got a lot of hot topics. So, but just a quick overview because I know, unfortunately, it is what it is with the interweb and the cell phone sometimes.
Well, I'm just basically, long story longer, flying out. I'll share some video. I'll share it to the show page, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. So we'll get this right, but once the season starts, we're going to hit it hot and heavy with the tailgate and things going on. Get some video. We'll put it up on the site. Hey, it's a work in progress. It's all about, getting better each and every constant and never-ending improvement. That's the way you got to look at it. Constant and never-ending improvement each show. So appreciate working through it, Will.
All right, no problem. I got to check in, and I got a flight to catch, so I'll see you all later.
All right, brother. Travel safe.
All right, see you all soon.
Good down by TSA.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's just stay live here, Steve-O. And that is what it is when it comes to technology, guys. We've been through. We all know about that, and Troy knows all too well about that too, with having to deal with that. I just wanted to jump right in the last 20 minutes or so regarding the NIL. And Randy, you can kind of take and chime in if you're getting this or not. But as far as things going on, and I wish Book would have made it tonight because there's a lot of things happening in the NIL. One of which, from your standpoint, gentlemen, and Pac-12, just so you're aware, they're the first group to monetize personal highlight videos on Twitter. So they've got a program going. This can go in any football stadium. There's a technology out there. After the game, they got all these cameras and stuff after the game. And it's not just the quarterback, the running back, the wide receiver. It's also linemen and everybody else involved too. They can hone in on so they can get highlights as well. And one of the key investors in this group is Larry Fitzgerald, just so you're aware. So what say you about that, guys? Because I think that's pretty cool. And then these guys are able to capitalize. I don't know how they're doing. I didn't read the whole article, but very interesting that they're starting to capitalize on highlights after the games.
Well, they actually, I saw that technology probably about 3 years ago, and they've been developing. One of my Will Shields over here, he's developing it with his facility. But what they do is they put a tag in the jersey. They decided to either do it on the number or on the name, depending upon what it is, and then that tag would just follow that. So there's a camera that locks on that guy and follows him all wherever he goes and whatever he does. So yeah, they've been trying to perfect that, and sounds like they've got it to this point. So now they can track each person, and there's basically 2 or 3 cameras that follow them every play. But I think it's great.
Well, and if they can take that could come into stats for offensive linemen. Somehow. Might be a way that they can incorporate that. I'm just saying. So, but yeah, it's a form of capitalizing on their own video highlights. So that's pretty cool. So, want to jump in on another topic when it comes to the NIL. I'm not as aware with this league, but are you guys familiar with the Horizon League, kind of in the Midwest there? Horizon conference, conference. Okay, Troy, you probably know more because you were out, in the Midwest, a little farther down there. They actually have a conference-wide marketplace that they created for the conference. They're helping actually the players. So it's what they're doing is they're helping pairing athletes with brands. So they're doing it as a whole, which is kind of cool. They're not. It's not a very. I know the schools involved, but probably like Indiana State, some of those. Some Kentucky, but it's very close to some of the bigger schools. Like the Dukes of the world and Kentuckys of the world. So what do you think about that? A conference actually doing a marketplace to help out their players?
Well, I think it works out pretty well if you've got one of these like clearing houses because, and we've got an NFL coach on here, so he's going to chime in a second when I say this. The number one thing coaches hate in the NFL are distractions from what's going on that week. And when you can have, let's say 30, 40, let's say 50 different groups come in on one day, that minimizes 49, 39, or 29 distractions throughout a season. So, I always think kind of from the front office because I was on that side with the coaches. And I know the NFL talking with those guys and eating with those guys and road tripping and it's the distraction to keep the athlete from focus on not only the task at hand, but the job they have to do on that particular game. So that's my 2 cents. So I like the idea of them all coming on one day. I guess I'll speak again and say I would like it much better if they did it the off season where the focus is less on, football and like a game week versus, you have something like maybe the kids have to stay home from spring break and not go to, South Padre Island. So they have that clearinghouse that week. If I was a college coach, I'd be like bonus, but it is what it is.
Okay. I think it's just different that, they have a whole conference doing it on behalf of the players to get the players to help the players out. They're doing the same thing that you see these Power 5 schools have, And on that note, I saw On3 had its top 20 collectives. And, it's my team, my college team I back. The number 1 collective was called Spire Sports Group, which is Tennessee. And just so you're aware, they're movers and shakers. They talked about what they're doing. Their goal at that particular collective, and I want your guys' thoughts on this because they're competing up with the big boys. Their goal, this gentleman by the name of Hunter Badur, if I'm pronouncing this right, said the collective is aiming to generate at least $25 million annually, and this money is going to put into the pocket of student athletes or recruits in an ultra competitive landscape in the SEC. They want to be they want to be the number one. They're not messing around. They want to be the top dog. And,
that's a very small endowment, $25 million a year. I mean, let's throw some granite on the table. 100 million, 250 million.
Wow.
Now we're talking endowment.
True, but they're just using that for players. If you look at Johnny Ruiz there in Life Wallet, what he's got going down, he's got $10 million. He's the number 2 guy they talked about. He's throwing $10 million into the table there. He spent on players. So 25 versus 10, that's still quite a bit when you're considering some of these things going on there.
Well, but that's kind of the thing I'm saying is that these endowments, that's the school's money. And see, if they were tapping those dollars, then there wouldn't be an NIL. Yep. Because the school doesn't want to pay those monies to the kids.
Nope.
Now they're trying to convince these conglomerates to do this, or these groups to pay that money to the kids, but the school's still holding on to the money that they got. So again, this is the part of the bait and switch that the NCAA has done, and then the universities are flipping that around too. So they're trying to say like, oh yeah, we want these kids to do better. Well, all you got to do is open your endowment and pay them. That's all you got to do. But they're trying to pretend like that's something that they just can't do. And that's the part that just pisses you off.
Yeah. I'm going to bring up a couple other things here too, guys, and get thoughts on this because, it's all about the money. It's happening lately with this NIL. Virginia Tech, the Hokies. This happened 3 hours ago. I just noticed 3 hours ago. There's a Triumph NIL. I don't know. It's another one of the collectives. Signed 28 Virginia Tech players for $300K. $300K. That's not bad. On that note, Texas Tech has got their what's called the Matador Sports, whatever. They have agreed with their football players to give them $25K each, for the season. They are actually doing it for the Level 13 as part of that Level 13 agency. They've announced last Friday, each member of the women's basketball team is going to get $25K. And that supposedly is the largest NIL deal for women's sports for team. What say you on that, gentlemen, on those two notes there?
That Virginia Tech deal is $15K per student athlete. You know what? Okay, that's a good start. I mean, that's what you call that in the NFL, fellas? Walking around money? That's some good walking around money.
Playing gambling.
That's gambling in the back of the plane money.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you guys know about that. I heard some stories about it. Former MLB players playing when was it Gary Sheffield or something made they had a flight and talking about gambling money. Yeah, because
hey, you ain't going to see more IOUs in the back of the plane. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Yeah, but anyway, any money going to the athletes, guys, though, is good. No matter if you think it's to you guys talking about gambling money for pro athletes, but these are college athletes. To me,
thank you, Sid. I think we need to put this in let's frame it a little bit. When you're talking about a college athlete, a scholarship athlete, they get book money. Okay, they get what we call housing, but housing has changed a little bit in the socioeconomic world of college housing, and what that is today's universities are much like a business. So what they're going to do is they're going to give everybody as little as they can so that they can keep their costs down. It's a business. It's just like any of us. We would buy 6 more pliers if it costs less than the 5 pliers. Okay, we're going to do it because it makes sense. That's what they do. Now, when you say we're going to give let's say 20 players at Virginia Tech, $300,000. That $300,000 sounds nice and flashy, but it's $15K. $15K isn't even a minimum wage salary. So where you're going with this And where I'm going with this is this. If that athlete goes out and gets hurt, that scholarship is over. So is that career in many cases. It's over. So now the focus goes into what's been lacking already, which is book work, your community service, yada, yada, yada. Whereas now you can actually get paid for what it is you're working hard at doing. And if it doesn't work out, you still have a nest egg created to do something else or to continue down the path in athletics, whatever that may be. I think personally it's a win-win for the athlete, and it's a win-win for the athlete that has a little bit of the moxie to know that this could be taken away from me today. I have to prepare while I'm healthy. It's kind of like thinking, listen, I'm going to get Randy's opinion, Steve's opinion. Professional athletes do not talk about retirement while they're playing. It's almost like what's that word? Where they don't want to think about it because it might happen. We'll just say it like that.
Don't talk about your second wife at your first wife's wedding.
See, that's it.
That's a different analogy, you Steve. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Shot. So
exactly. You don't do it.
But where I'm going with that is, while they're playing, they're never thinking about that day it stops, and it could stop today. And
exactly.
We've all been around athletics. We see that athlete who we thought, hey, this guy's going to have one heck of a career, or she's going to be a terrific athlete for X amount of years, and boom, practice, they blow an Achilles, or they tear the MCL, PCL, ACL, and once the knee's gone like that, it's over. And you say, oh, it's too bad. For that athlete, now they got to start thinking about a different career path.
No, and that's a good point you bring up there, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I need to cut you off, is that we should have brought that up, but we should have brought that up with Raekwon, though, talking about these deals he's working on, is that because we talk about the trust, where you're going to do it, how they handle the deals and that sort of thing. So, and Troy, weren't you involved with baseball and sort of is your background come as such? Weren't you involved in that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I have a baseball background with Royals and MLB and stuff. So
so how did that? I mean, you were involved with dealing with helping out the GM and stuff like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was a special assistant to the GM.
Okay, so you know a little bit about these contracts and stuff. I mean, what the guys have been talking about after a career. I mean, did they discuss that? Did you guys bring stuff like that up, or?
Well, the MLBPA, they do a lot of that stuff. Like Steve could talk. The NFLPA, they've been doing a lot better about post-career with these athletes, finances, all kinds of stuff. But not really during the game. While they're in the game, it's mostly, like I said, post-careers.
Yeah, because they're a commodity. They don't want to talk about. They want you to fight.
For many years, Major League Baseball had the quintessential contract for taking care of their players. That happened after that last strike. I forget, and they became the strongest union in professional sports. And it was like, here you have the mothership, no offense to baseball or basketball, the NFL, and the players have minimal, if any, kind of say at the table. And what I mean by minimal, we get into it about Upshaw, but Upshaw was there at the table, and he did a lot of good, CBA 93, which was that TV money, TV revenue, and then beginning to usher in something for the players that were retired. But in reality, it may have been a guy that was the league's guy sitting at the table working on behalf of the league and the players. Whereas Major League Baseball, after that strike, I can't remember what year it was, Troy, but they really
94.
took a wide share of revenue. What was 94?
94.
94. And that they became like a galvanized players union where they were good. I don't want to steal D. Snyder's. We're not going to take it, but that really changed the way collective bargaining went in baseball. I thought it would capitulate. I thought it would move over to football but it hasn't. And football's still a
Keep
for
in
long.
mind, though, see, baseball, they can guarantee that contract for the entire life of the contract because the only injury that puts a baseball player out for what it is that pitching.
Tommy John.
That's the only one that puts guys out, but they still come back from that. But football, I mean, you just don't know. I mean, an ankle could put you out. A knee definitely puts you out. So you don't know when a guy, and then once you're hurt, I mean, what's your likelihood of coming back and playing at that higher percentage? Injury changes everything for football. So that's the hard part with football is there's no way to guarantee that contract. And then even if you guarantee the contract, who's going to see the end of it?
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody ever sees the end of the contract.
That's the key to this whole NIL thing, guys, and what can we do to help out these athletes in college? Because like you say, you blow your knee out or whatever, something happens, you're done. And they're not going to get taken care of. They don't have insurance. So there's a lot of things that are going to happen with this. It's possible.
And there's no collective bargaining.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
So I'm going to bring up one more topic, and I know we're going to kind of come up and do our final thoughts because there's so many other things, but we have a tendency to go long-winded because that's who we are. One last thing I wanted to bring up, and you guys can talk about this because I don't think it's, Tommy Tuberville, former Auburn coach, you probably remember him, and Joe Manchin. Oh, my God, Joe Manchin. Lovely Joe Manchin. Intend to draft a supposed bipartisan NIL bill. What do you think? I mean, did you guys talk all this?
Bureaucracy. I loved failed bureaucracy. That's all I'm going to say. Hey, you're a year and a half behind us saying you should be 4 years ahead of it if you're leaving. If not, you're just taking up space in the back of the train.
Yeah, and again, Steve, go ahead.
It's literally like taking one bad manager and saying, I'm going to go get the team that lost more games to come and manage this team now. I don't want the team that won more games. I want the team that lost more games to come and you guys come and manage this now. That's even the NCAA already screwed up, and then you're going to go to the.
I said it before. The toothpaste is out. It's not. You can't put it back in. So times are changing. You're going to see talks like that a lot. I think trying to fix it, and hey, it's not going to happen.
I want to say that's why we're here because we can put this together because we know. We got enough experience with the people on this cast and in our team that we can manage and deal with all of the complexities of putting this together because it's technically really not that complicated. They're just trying to make it look real complicated. These bridges have already been built. They're just trying to pretend like, oh, we don't know where to go. Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Again, you got
to open up your damn coffer and let go of all that money you're sitting on in your endowment. Let's start there because you got it. Every school's got it. It's just how much.
And we can go on and on about that with the contracts that's happened with the TV.
I know what Ad said. You know how these, we talk about it. Oh, so and so's just coaching at that school until they get a better gig. This is just like HBCU universities, as well as like I'm going to use Made Right hamburgers in Iowa, which is colloquialism only in Iowa, where they have Made Right sandwiches, where they could NIL, Kirk Ferentz for 20 more years at $20 million a year, and now. Why would a guy leave when he has that kind of money? Okay, this is where it's going, as well as the HBCU, which will be able to dictate their own future because of the entertainment dollars that are already involved within that community. This is called disruption at all levels, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, a reference to Made Right. Too bad Brian wasn't on here tonight. He would know that. I know it. I've been there a few times, had a few Made Rights in my day. So anyway, well, let's wrap it up, guys, because like I said, it's at the bottom of the hour, and we, again, as always, got a little long-winded, had to deal with some technology issues and such. But hey, that's the internet. That's the interweb. That's part of growth. So let's bring our final thoughts in. I know Randy, you didn't get into too much, and I want to get your thoughts right off the bat because we weren't able to get you into too much tonight. So what are your final thoughts on everything going on?
Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
this is good for me to listen and learn. And then tonight, what I'm going to do when we get done here, I'm going to research it on my own. I want to figure out how what this NIL is all about, because I really don't know anything. You know, it's totally new to me, this whole concept.
Well, that's good. We're here to educate you. So you're part of the team as a former pro coach, and hopefully getting back in the game, learn about name, image, and likeness, because hopefully we can use your name, image, and likeness on a future team for you. Right there. Gotcha. Rev.
Plug. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, listen, first of all, I want to thank Troy for coming on. I want to thank Raekwon. I think we've got one of these bang-up kind of panels where we've got two pro football players. We've got 15 years experience. We've got an NFL coach with over 10 years NFL experience, 20 years college experience in there. And then, what we do is we shake it up with a little bit of opinion. And hopefully what we do is give you a little bit of an idea of where this NIL is going. And I think what you have now is you have the merging of amateur and professional. And the only way that merger is going to coalesce very well is by having both. And you need strong people on both sides of that, which means this: if you're heavy on the amateur and you have no pro side, you're not going to know what you're talking about when it comes to contract negotiations, arbitration, collective bargaining, all of the essentials that it comes down to when you're arguing or when you're having discourse over what your value is in the free market. So these are the things. And then moving from professional and you don't have any amateurs, I think what you lose is you lose the innocence of this game at its most pristineness, which is, a lot of these kids, they're not just fighting for a jersey or out there going to get a jersey. They play because they love the home state's team. It's been the team they followed since they were a kid. This is a dream they've always had. These are the things that make up this game, that make it, I think, the greatest game in the history of the world. I'm biased, of course. But football is in of itself the game where all of the different socioeconomic backgrounds come together for one goal. And they all have to do it together. If they don't, it's offsides, or it's false started, or you got a hold, or somebody personal fouled. Here is the greatest metaphor for life. And I think what it is saying is if I could wrap it down into one little song, it's a song that Johnny Cash used to sing, "A Boy Becomes a Man," the coming of age. And that age is becoming a little bit younger when it comes to understanding our name, image, and likeness. So you need the balance of the pros and the amateurs, I think, to have a healthy coexistence in the sports world today and into the future. That's it.
Oh, awesome. I thought when you mentioned Johnny Cash, I thought you were going to say "A Boy Named Sue."
I was close.
Yeah.
Y'all telling on yourself. Don't do that.
Troy, let's get your thoughts. We tried to get you chiming in a little bit. We appreciate you coming on, Pinch Hit, and we hope to get you on more and more. We'd like to get that.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on tonight, talk a little NIL football, some fantasy football, and look forward to the fantasy football league that we're having, and appreciate what you guys are doing to promote NIL and help these athletes get a piece of the pie they deserve. So.
Awesome. We want to thank you for coming on, and hopefully we'll get you on again. Talk a little more. I can tell a little MLB because it's big football, but this is about all the sports. So that's why I wanted to get your thoughts on the trade and such earlier in the show too. So, Steve-O, going to come to you.
Yeah. I also thank you, Troy and Randy, for being on. Definitely appreciate you guys. We are football heavy because we're mostly football people. So we do want the diversity with other sports to speak into the NIL universe because it's a new market. And with that new market, comes new things. And, I definitely thank Raekwon for coming on. I mean, he's a hell of a pioneer, guts. And, with no guts, there is no glory. So you got to stay out there and dare to challenge the system and challenge what's out there. And all he's doing is redoing the idea. So I definitely feel for them on the hater side. I know what haters are, boy. Boy, if it wasn't for haters, I wouldn't have tried. So, but the bigger thing is again, we try to emphasize that we're trying to bring together the people's collective, the people coming together and saying, hey, we can control these things. When I first saw that first contract, it scared the hell out of me because I saw the number and I didn't see anything else. And we got to get past that because you got to know your worth, and it's hard to know your worth. And I tried to negotiate my own contract. It was beyond intimidating. I was petrified, and just to have these young kids stepping out there, doing that, that is phenomenal. So we definitely want to work with people and help them find that path. And again, it's just advice. It's not heavy. It's not hard. Just if somebody would have been there for me to tell me one or two things that could have completely changed my career. And that's my position on paying it forward. And here's these kids with this excellent opportunity. Wish I would have had it. I'm not going to begrudge what happened to me. I'm going to say, hey, you take it. Now you got the chance to make the most of it. So thanks to our guests, and thanks to all of our sponsors, and thanks to the chats coming in. Really appreciate that. We're just going to keep grinding, keep growing. Simple Playz.
There you go. Thanks, Steve-O. So
thank you.
I guess it'll come to me. They're my final thoughts. First of all, I do want to throw a big shout out to Raekwon for sticking with us. Having to reschedule last time, was helping his mother, and tonight with dealing with technical difficulties. But that's it. It's part of the game, the interweb. We're learning as we go, and it's still constantly changing. So we thank him. He is a pioneer. I want to thank, like I said, we've already thanked about. Thank you again, Troy. But throw a shout out to Brian, who couldn't be here tonight. His wife. Thoughts out to her. They're going to have their second child, so hope everything goes smoothly for them. That's always you never know. So thinking about them, their thoughts, and Book, where we are tonight. Hope you had a good night. We missed Book. Something must have came up. He's usually pretty much money on the show, so hope everything's there good with him. So, but as far as everything we talked about tonight, I think we talked about a lot of topics and NIL and a lot of good stuff tonight, guys, and contracts and this and that. Just got to bring back to the thing that you pointed out there, Rev, that made me think the merging. Basically, the college and the pro, you're basically it's like you're creating a farm team now with collegiate sports. That's the way this money's going. So the two have to be working together, I think. But and I do want to kind of plan a feeler for next week, gentlemen. I throw in a little curveball, a little bit different. We talk about all this NIL stuff, but we're going to get into the gaming world next week. Talk with Commissioner. He's a young CEO of the NEC conference, the conference there. They have a number of different collegiate teams playing in their conferences and games. It's $1 billion industry, so it's huge. So love to hear him next week. Caleb Gloob. So tune in next week to get his thoughts, because we talk about cultish games. That is one of them, and that is booming too. So should be interesting moving into next week. And I just want to say thank you guys for working through everything tonight. We always have our little bumps in the road, but we make it through. So that's what teamwork's all about. So I'm just going to pass on that, and I'm looking forward for next week. So another show, and thanks everyone for sticking with us tonight. So Steve-O, we're going to send it off. We're going to ride off.
See you later.
Happy trails. Happy trails.
Thanks for
So
coming.
long, everybody.